In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, how important is public transportation? I can remember being a young man and the question was always, is it on the bus line? My name is Eric Coleman, community organizer with Disability Advocates of Kent County. Today, we answer that question. Kent County, do we have reliable transportation? Allow us to intervene and come and put things in a different perspective. We have an expert panel here to tackle that question from a lot of different angles. Hopefully, we can give an informative understanding of what transportation is and how it sustains Michigan communities. What we are attempting to do today is incite some great dialogue in regard to a topic that is near and dear to all of us, right? Transportation. By show of applause, how many of us view transportation as a key component to sustaining Michigan communities? Fair enough, I concur. I concur. So what we'll do today is talk about Michigan. Do you have reliable transportation? Do you have reliable transportation? Now that's a question that's often posed by employers to prospective employees in regard to job retention and sustaining a viable workforce. So sometimes transportation seems to take a shotgun seat or back seat, if you will, to issues like housing, employment, healthcare. But it seems that transportation is really interrelated to all these things. It's a core issue, an issue that through dialogue, maybe we can get some solutions. Today, we have an awesome panel, an all-star team, if you will. They've been assembled to win a championship. No, I'm just playing. But we have a very versed panel here today. So I urge you, take advantage, extract information, if you will, and understand that we are here to learn. We are here to motivate and inspire some solutions. Fact of the matter is, transportation is very essential to sustaining Michigan communities. So if you would, let me introduce our panel. And we'll start with Megan Joyce, Special Services Manager, The Rapid. You may applaud.
Thank you.
Bill Kirk, Public Outreach Coordinator, The Rapid. Mr. Joshua Lunger, Public Policy Coordinator, Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce. State Representative Rob Verheulen, 74th District. And County Commissioner, 16th District, Dave Bukowski. Okay, before we get into our forum, we have an extra special benediction that will be given by Pastor Stepford Sims from Sherman Street Christian Reformed Church.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's just have a quick word of prayer. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together as we look at the needs of our city, as we discuss and explore ways to have better public transportation. We just believe that those needs are being met in creative ways as we discover and raise resources for that. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Sims. Okay. As we are here to benefit from the wisdom that we have in front of us on this panel, what we're going to do to start this forum off is have each panel member elaborate what we're going to call today as their take on transit. Now, each panel member is a public servant that is seeking to help or promote Michigan's transportation system in a unique way. So what we'll do is we'll kind of get a take on transit from each panel member that kind of gives you an understanding of what they do and how they do it. And we will start that off with Ms. Joyce.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here today. My name is Megan Joyce. I'm the Special Services Manager at the Rapid, and what that means is my department is in charge of everything except the fixed route. So the regular buses, the regular city bus, and with the advent of the new BRT, that is a different department, but I handle primarily Go Bus. That is the biggest portion of my department, but also we have a service called Pass, and we coordinate with RideLink and some of that, but other than the fixed route, that's what I have. And I've been with the Rapid almost 20 years. I've been the manager of the department for 7, so my expertise really, if you will, is with ADA paratransit. And I think there's a lot of confusion sometimes of ADA paratransit versus a dial-a-ride kind of system, but what you may need to know is under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, is that any area that has a fixed route transit, has a transit authority, we're required by federal law to have ADA paratransit for people who are not able to use the fixed route due to their disabilities. So we are required to provide service same days, same hours, same places as the fixed route bus. And that can be confusing sometimes because other services in other areas can provide what's called a dial-a-ride or something like that, and they may have some limits on their service, or they may go to areas that we don't go to, so it can be a little confusing to people. I think in this area it's a little more structured because we only really have the Rapid as the public transit authority, and people are pretty familiar with Go Bus. I see the little buses going around and know that. So in my area, I'm very cognizant of the need for transportation for people. Most of the passengers that I deal with on a daily basis have disabilities. Most of those disabilities prevent them from using the bus at all, or a great majority of the time. So I'm very cognizant of the need for transportation, not just in the greater Grand Rapids area, not just within the 6 cities of the Rapid, but really throughout a greater area, whether it's the whole county or the first ring townships or whatever. And I do hear from people a lot about that need. And sometimes they may not be eligible for Go Bus, but that doesn't mean they don't need to get somewhere that they can't get to on the fixed route bus. And that can be very frustrating, especially for people who have no other options. So we are in a position to see that and to know that. I recommend that people maybe call their township supervisors or some other officials if they're looking for transit beyond what we provide, but we certainly strive to provide an excellent paratransit service that does compare to our fixed route, and every time there's improvements to fixed route, that invariably leads to improvements in paratransit. So I think we're doing a good job at this point, and we'll hopefully continue to do so, and certainly be part of the conversation about any increase in transportation that may be in this community, because that's what we're all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk?
Yes, sir. Well, thanks again for having us today. It is a real pleasure to be here, especially with the distinguished folks here at this table. Most days I just try to learn from and keep up with Megan, so that's all you really need to know. No, my position is Public Outreach Coordinator at the Rapid. I've been with the Rapid since late 2010 and came on at a very exciting time when we were going forward with a ballot question to expand and enhance service. We were able to pass that with the help of a lot of people in this room. That was a great piece of education and advocacy that happened there. And these days, one of the things we're most focused on as a part of that successful initiative is implementing the first bus rapid transit line in Michigan. So bus rapid transit is a relatively new mode to the United States and certainly to Michigan, but something that's been around for a long time. So my day-to-day these days really revolves around that construction that's going on currently in the Division Corridor and making sure people understand what that service is and what it could be. But aside from that, as Megan pointed out, we work with a lot of different groups on a lot of different issues, and my job is generally to be that liaison between the community and the Rapid to make sure we're doing our job right, make sure we're getting feedback, and make sure we're listening to our riders. So as I said, I'm relatively new to the organization, but I can tell you, knowing what I know about its history and where we've come from, We do a very comprehensive job of providing public transportation in the region. Megan mentioned the 6-city area. We do serve Grand Rapids, East Grand Rapids, Granville, Kentwood, Walker, and Wyoming, with some limited service through other contracts elsewhere. But that is the focus of our service. We do know that there is a need for transit in other areas. We know that there's a need for transit later into the night, more on Sundays, more on Saturdays, more frequent service. So we're constantly working to find those solutions and to find creative ways to fund that sort of service. But my take on transit these days, especially in the Grand Rapids metropolitan region, is we're doing really, really well compared to a lot of other cities and a lot of regions. That's not to boast, but it's just to say that we're fortunate in the sense that we are not suffering from a lot of the economic consequences and funding constraints of a lot of other systems. You look around the country and a lot of places are cutting service or raising fares or having to readjust how they do business. I'm lucky enough to work with a lot of great people at the Rapid who over the years have been very, very focused on stable funding, efficient service, and effective representation and relationships in the community. So that foundation that we've built upon has got us to where we are today. And it's an exciting time in Grand Rapids and in the 6 cities for transit, and I think we have a very bright future. We certainly are constrained by funding like every other municipal agency in the world, really. I'm sure Josh and Rob will speak to that a bit, but I would say that right now things are great in this region, and we enjoy the support of the community in a wonderful way. We're very grateful for that. And the one thing, I guess, I'm sure we'll have some call to actions later, but I'll give you one on the front end as well. It was similar to what Megan said. You know, stay in touch with us. We want these open lines of communication, and if we don't hear from the community, then we can't respond as well as we should to your needs. So it's good to be here, and we appreciate all your support.
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Lunger.
Thank you. I'm Joshua Lunger. I'm the Public Policy Coordinator at the Grand Rapids Area Chamber of Commerce. Briefly said, our mission is to be a champion for economic prosperity in West Michigan. And one of the things that I focus on is in our Government Affairs Department is transportation. When it comes to transit, especially in our local area, I'm really happy to work with Bill and other members of the Rapid in that you guys go out and you identify where's work being done and how do we get people to those employers. I think that it's been proven time and time again, connectivity is important for regional growth. And you can look to some of the best areas in our country and it shows you that we need to have people accessing those employers, accessing services. I mean, you name it, connectivity is important. So it's great to have the Rapid doing that, talking with employers, finding out where needs are, where they're going to be in the future. One thing I am excited about too is this bus rapid transit line, and I don't want to go over too much of what you're saying, but when we're trying to attract employers here, grow jobs, having services like the bus rapid transit and all these other myriads of things puts us on the map. People are saying, well, they have this great new thing, it's exciting. What about Grand Rapids? And that's one thing we're trying to work with. I do have a concern. My main focus right now is on transportation funding, as Bill said, and hopefully the good representative here will elaborate on it. But this is not just a Michigan problem, it's a federal and a state problem. We've been significantly underinvesting in our transportation for a long time. And that's not just roads, that's also where your money for transit services comes from. Every day we're losing millions in the quality of our roads. And unfortunately, the way a road degrades, the longer we wait to invest, the more expensive it becomes. So whether it's moving people or goods, whether it's moving our businesses moving freight, we got to have these assets, and we got to invest in them now, or we're going to have a lot more problems in the near future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lunger. Representative.
Thank you, and I too thank you for the invitation to be here. For the past 11 years, I was on the board of the Rapids, working with Bill and Megan, and I have to say it was just a delight and a pleasure, and I think that we have one of the best public transportation systems anywhere, and it's due to both of them and their colleagues. So. But as of the first of the year, I took office as the state representative for the 74th District, which is kind of a rural and an urban district. It includes 2 of the cities in the Rapid system.